welcome to the Miracles and Grace podcast. I'm your host, Grace Mirnick-Hackett, and today we have one of my very best friends here. I'm so excited about this, Lauren Akins. I was thinking the other day, I heard someone use the term family, and when I saw it, it kind of reminds me of like when grandmas say, my son in love.
Oh, yeah.
It's like pretty cheesy, but it's sweet.
So true.
But when I read the word, I thought of you, and I was like,
Aww.
when I think of the word family and like friends that truly are like family, I think of y'all. And I also think part of that is because I have a lot of girlfriends that I would say are like sisters, but to have a whole family where it's like our husbands are best friends, we're best friends, our kids love each other, like it is just the sweetest thing ever.
It's really sweet. We feel the same.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I know, I'm excited too. I feel like we should definitely start with, you can give an intro of yourself for people who don't know you, and then I would love to just explain how we met, because I feel like I've been asked that so many times over the years.
And it's a good story.
It is a great story.
Okay, well, my name is Lauren. I am 5th generation Nashvilleian. My husband and I live here. We have 4 little girls and another one on the way. Not sure if it's a girl or a boy. But we love doing life with our girls. My husband, his name is Thomas Rhett. Fun fact, our last name is Akins. He, if I talk to him or about him in this podcast, I refer to him as Thomas Rhett. And if you listen to country music, you probably know Thomas Rhett as Thomas Rhett the singer. And he is an amazing singer. He's also a really great husband and a really great dad and friend. And that's what he goes by, is Thomas Rhett. And has since we were little. Our older 2 girls, they both have double names. I know you've got double names in your family.
She's not name dropping her own husband.
Not name dropping. So if I say his name, that's what he's called at home. It's just happenstance that they decided to make that his stage name as well. And sometimes unfortunate, but it is what it is. And
whenever he introduces himself as Thomas, I'm like,
yeah, it doesn't feel right when
and why do you do that? Because then it makes all of us seem like we're calling him.
That's right. It makes us look bad.
Yeah. And
then it sounds weird when it's coming out of somebody's mouth saying, hey, Thomas. I'm like, oh no, that's not his name. It's okay. We have been married almost 13 years this year. And he has been in the music industry for a while. I am a stay-at-home mom. And also I serve on the board of directors of Love One, which I'm sure everyone knows by now, especially if you're a fan of Grace. And it is truly, that and motherhood is just like my passion. I love it so much. And it just feels like such a gift that I get to do it and be a part of what's happening and what the Lord is doing, and anything else. I just, yeah, that's pretty much me.
Okay, I would love to just give background on how we met and became friends, because like you said, it is an awesome story. And also I just love how it's still so tied to our lives now. Like, we can get into this, but my cousin is the connector of all the things, and we do life with him so closely. He is ironically one of the people that calls Thomas Rhett Thomas.
Yep, sure is.
Every time he says it, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But him. Tell from your perspective, and then I'll give my perspective, but on just how Landon connected you with my mom and how it all happened.
Yeah. Speaking of miracles, I feel like this is also one.
Totally.
Just how the Lord has knit together the details of the story and how everything had to align the way that it did for life to work out the way that it has and is still going. But Landon and I became friends. I'm going to try to make a very long story short. Landon is his name. We became friends in college. We both went to the University of Tennessee. Gracie did too.
Go Vols.
And we both were camp counselors at this summer camp called Pine Cove. And we met each other because we were both at the University of Tennessee and didn't know each other. But when we went to connect with other counselors at this camp, there was a smallish group. We counseled at the high school camp, the Shores. And there was a small group of us from Tennessee. And so Landon and I became very close very fast because I didn't know anybody going to this camp in Texas. And he was kind of like we got to stay close because we're the Tennesseans that are coming in not knowing anybody. So we got really close.
And he's very uninhibited too, so he's easy to get to know.
Extremely.
Yeah.
And I like tend to be magnetized toward people who are just loud and know exactly who they are. And I love
Landon.
friends like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the closer we got over the years and when we finished out college, we stayed close. And he would always say, "You remind me so much of my aunt." And I'm like, "Oh, that's sweet." And then he would be like, I've got to introduce y'all. But the amount of times that he would bring it up and say it was like a little bit weird because I just feel like most nephews are not so close to their aunt that every time they're with one of their best friends, they talk about their aunt.
For sure.
But it kind of got to where I was like, "Landon, this is kind of like, I get it. I love that we remind you of each other." But truly, it was just the Lord just continuing to put that on his heart. Like, you got to make this connection happen.
And also for a man to be so intentional to say that.
For sure.
Like,
to be sensitive to the Spirit.
yes.
To be like, I'm just going to say it. It might not make sense, but I feel like I need to say it.
Yeah.
And so, long story short, timeline-wise, fast forward, I got married. He was living in Turkey for a few years. Landon was. Came back for a very short time and said, "I really want to get together with you and Thomas Rhett." And so I made time for it, even though we were crazy traveling on the road. I'm like, I have got to see him. It's been so long. We get together. He's been in Turkey. The one thing he wanted to talk about was me meeting his aunt, Suzanne. And I was like, "Landon, listen, we've been down this road." He said, "No, I'm serious. You just finished nursing school. You're touring with your husband, not pursuing the career that you have spent the last 4 years almost not making it through. And I know this is a desire of your heart to pursue that." And also, what she does, what she's about to do in 2 weeks is go to Haiti to do a medical mission trip. And you've got to meet her. They had a nurse drop out. So I want to introduce y'all, and I think you need to go on this trip with her. I was like, hold the phone. It just was 0 to a million in 3 seconds. And I was like, absolutely not. There's no way that my husband's going to be like, "Yeah, babe, go to a third world country with no one that you know." And I'd never been to a third world country. I didn't know any of these people. I just finished nursing school, but I hadn't practiced. And, other than doing schooling and clinicals and internships. But I went. My husband looked at me and he said, "Listen, this is the one thing that you've been praying about for so long. You've supported me so well as a wife." And we had been married 2 years at this point, and I traveled with him on the road 200 and something days a year. And I was just like, I just don't feel like I'm living in the purpose of what God has created me to do. I know that part of my purpose is being your wife and supporting you, and I love that. But I feel that there's more, and I just don't know what that is. And so I went to Haiti. I met your mom the trip before we all met at the airport. And
which also, quick pause, I just recorded a podcast with my mom, which by the time this comes out will have been out for a while. But I've never really thought about this way, but one of the miraculous things that we talked about was on the first trip that we ever went to Uganda. There were 10 of us, and we all had all of our bags. We were at the airport, and our flight got canceled. And it was for spring break. So it was a shorter trip. You know how long the travel is.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody was devastated. And if there were 10 of us, exactly 10 seats opened up on the one flight going to Uganda that would have gotten us there to be able to take a spring break trip.
Right.
And we were just talking about how it's some people might say that's lucky. Mm-hmm. Oh, that was just luck that 10 spots opened up. But when you look at all the events that unfolded since, I made the point that who knows if we hadn't made it then in that timing. That's when we met Josie Love. Mm. What if we couldn't have gone till 2 years later? I don't even know that she would have been alive.
Right.
And because we met Josie, then Love One started, and those 10 seats opening up led to so much more. And yes. I've never really thought about this parallel until you're saying it right now. But when you're talking about that one nurse dropping out and there being a spot, and it happened, the timing lining up for y'all being home from touring or whatever you're doing with Thomas Rhett to be with Landon.
When also he's got so much family in Nashville. Like the fact that
Yes.
he reached out to me, one of his best girlfriends,
Right.
who was married and doing her thing with her husband, for sure. The timing. Also, a miracle that I even got the job at Pine Cove Shores. It's a miracle that me and Landon are even friends.
Yeah.
Like just that story alone, which is a whole different story, how I got that job when a lot of people don't. And
Right, because Pine Cove, if you're not familiar, is like the pinnacle of camps in my mind. Like
yeah,
I went to
y'all's family. Yeah, y'all went.
we went to their family camp as kids, and it's the best camp. And the counselors are like, if you meet someone who's a Pine Cove counselor, you're like, yeah, it makes sense that you're a Pine Cove counselor because you're the coolest person ever. Everyone that works at Pine Cove is stellar.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's so hard to get a job there because
they're
they're
best friends that I have from
it's an
that.
intense
Yes,
process.
it's so intense. And exactly. So I feel like truly all of these little stepping stones, even just my husband being in the position that he is in, where he chose to elevate his marriage and his career. And because of that, it started to give me my own platform, even though I did nothing to gain a platform. It just started happening.
Yeah.
And right as that happened was the trip that I went on with your mom to Haiti.
Yep.
And so right as his career took off, so much happened, even just in the week that I was in Haiti with my husband and his career.
Isn't that when Die Happy Man went number one?
It was Die Happy Man was coming out. He was doing all of the going to New York, doing late night shows, doing Good Morning America and the Today Show, and like that's when he was promoting all of this, and his team, they were doing all this work, laying this foundation.
Yeah.
And as he started to kind of really gain momentum as an artist is when I fell in love with Love One.
Yeah.
And at that time, it's like the Lord was like, I'm going to give him a platform that is going to pour into a different platform that's going to help support this organization that clearly is just the heartbeat of Jesus.
Yeah.
And
that's well said.
So it's just there's so many avenues. It's like a web that you can be like, this miracle led to this one, and this one thing led to that detail. And it's this whole, like, you could go any avenue with it and be like, well, that's a miracle.
Yeah.
The fact that timing landed is insane.
Yeah.
And I just, even the fact that your mom is one of my best friends is a miracle to me. Because I can remember being over there and watching her and watching everyone watch her. Because she just, the way she loves and how boldly she lives for Jesus is just like, you just want to watch it. You just want to be close so you can just see what happens because you know something is going to happen.
Yeah. And I feel that way about being born into being her daughter. Yeah. I'm like, how did I get so lucky?
It's so sweet.
Yeah, it is.
But just the Lord's hand on her life is so special. And I can remember seeing her in action and thinking, I want to be her friend so bad. She has 8 kids. She is running an organization across the world. And she has friends. And she has a life. And I am 18 years younger than her or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, why would she be my friend? And the Lord was like, oh, you just buckle up, sister, because you're about to be doing this with her indefinitely. And also just like a dream come true, and just like such the Lord's kindness of that desire of my heart that was just so ignited in that trip became what I feel like is one of my greatest purposes on earth. And it's so much fun, and it's really hard.
Yeah.
But it's the most life-giving thing to be a part of, and to get to do it with your mom, and then to look at Landon, who we do life with so closely now.
We're
just
all in
as
small group
families.
together.
Yeah, as families and as couples, and now still one of my best friends. It's just so sweet.
Yeah.
It's so sweet. And truly looking back over all of those stories, every one of them feels like its own miracle.
Yeah. I also, just from my perspective, as this was all happening, I was not on the first trip that y'all went on to Haiti, obviously, but I, at the time, we have an 7-year age gap, because you're the same age as Davey.
Yeah.
And I was in nursing school at the University of Tennessee as well. And I look back, and Tennessee's nursing school is, like, arguably the best in the state. And I got in as a high school senior, and it was like, I just applied because I had been traveling internationally my whole life, and I was like, this feels like a career that I could use to help people.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone told me I was crazy if I didn't say yes after I got in as a senior in high school. So I got into nursing school. I did 2 years of it, and I was just so unfulfilled in literally every aspect of my college life. I hated my major. I was just like, unless I'm going to go live somewhere internationally, I just didn't realize the reality of what my life would look like as a nurse. And it's a calling, and thank you, God, for nurses.
Yeah.
Especially after having babies. I'm like, thank you, God.
For sure.
Because all my nurses were literal
Angels.
saints. I
Yes.
can't even say enough about how much I love my nurses. But I just realized I don't think this is the calling on my life.
Yeah.
And so then we went on a trip to Haiti together, and that was really the first time I had spent time with you. It was not too long after y'all went on that first trip.
Yeah.
And you had looked at my mom on the way home and said, anytime you go anywhere, book me a seat next to you.
Yeah.
So this was the first time I had been to Haiti, and the first time that we went together, and I think might have been roommates. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I was really grappling with, like, I'm 2 years into this degree. And the gen eds are not gen eds. Like, I've slaved over microbiology and chemistry and anatomy and, like, and I was like, how am I going to switch halfway through college? And anyways, I just remember you looking at me and saying, if you don't absolutely love it, get out.
Yeah.
And you counseled me so much through that. And again, I recently recorded this podcast with my mom, and she was saying that she feels like a big part of what gave her the courage to start Love One, which this is so crazy because I was not equipped either. But she was like, I didn't know what I was doing, but you didn't either. And we were like, we did it together at the beginning because you were graduating college and looking for a job. And I also am just having this epiphany talking to you that if I had not gotten out of nursing, I would have been like, I just got a degree in nursing and I have to make a living. I'm going to get a job at St. Thomas.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But because of that, because I ended up switching to child and family studies, which you can't get a job unless you get a master's pretty much. Then, not like a specialized job, then I was like, yeah, I'll help you. Whatever. I'll learn on YouTube University.
Is it a paycheck?
Yeah,
Yes,
how to do marketing and finances, and we did, and it was great. But I also was just thinking, when you were like, why would your mom want to be friends with me? It's so funny hearing you say that, because I was thinking about this when I was just thinking about doing this podcast with you, and I've said this to you before, but I've shared a little bit about this here and there, but I just was not surrounded by life-giving people in college. And honestly, I'm sure there are people who listen to this who can relate to that, because I feel like that's so many people's story. You go to college, especially if you go to a big school and maybe you do Greek life, or you just get sucked into the not best crowd who's not making the best decisions. And I was just so depleted. And I actually remember that trip we took it was in my sophomore year, like January, right before we went back to school, because I remember driving back to Knoxville and being like, this semester has to be different because I can't do this anymore. Like, I can't always do life really closely with people who are just constantly going out, and it's just all about a party and boys and sororities and all these things that are just leaving me feeling so lifeless. And literally when I became friends with you, I was like, this is the breath of fresh air that I have prayed for. Like, you had a healthy relationship with alcohol. I could come to your house and people would be having drinks, but nobody's like hammered or trying to hit the bars or like, I was just like, wow, this is what a healthy relationship with alcohol looks like. No one around me has this. This is what it looks like to do life with someone who walks with Jesus and who wants to make a difference in the world. And like, when you say, why would your mom want to be friends with me? I'm like, I remember becoming your friend and being like, this is exactly what I've prayed for in a friendship. And it was also interesting timing for me, because when Thomas Rhett's career was taking off, everybody knew who y'all were. And that was around the time that we were becoming close. And I remember so many people not saying to my face, but saying to other people, like, she just cares about her because she's famous. Yeah. And she just wants to be her friend because she's famous. And I just had this thought. I'm connecting a lot of dots and having a lot of epiphanies as we're talking.
This is good.
As I look back on that season, but I'm like, I honestly don't think, I think if we had become friends earlier than that, it would have been what I was longing for, but I also cared so much about what other people thought the first couple of years of college that I think if people started saying things like that about me, I might have withdrawn from you and been like, I don't want people to think that about me. Whereas I was so desperate for life in my friendships that I was like, I do not give one crap what any of you say about me. I'm either being friends with her and staying here, or I'm transferring.
How about that?
Literally, I was like, I'm transferring and leaving all of you. So I don't care what you think about me. But now, I mean, I just feel like being friends with you has been a segue, even as an adult, into such a life-giving friend group. Like, because I was home all the time. I came home on the weekends, and I was dating Davey my senior year, and I can always
counting down till you were graduated. We're like, Grace, you're so close. You're gonna be in Nashville. We're gonna do life together.
I know, and all my friends were like, "Why are you never in Knoxville?" I'm like, "Well, what are y'all gonna do this weekend?" And it was like, "Well, Sigma Chi's having a darty," and I was like, "See you Sunday."
Not gonna be there. I'm gonna go home.
Literally, and so I would just come home and hang out with y'all like the last 2 years.
I'm so glad you did.
I know. And now Landon, who connected us all to begin with, looked at both of us post-grad.
Yeah.
And was like, we were all, you and Thomas had been married for years, but Landon had just gotten married. I think they got married. I can't remember if it was the December before us or after us. I think it was before. They got married in December, then we got married in September.
Maybe. Yeah.
We got married really close together.
Yes,
so we had both we were both in the newlywed season, and he was like, I really want to build community with other couples who love Jesus and we can like do life consistently with. And so that's how our small group came to be, was Landon facilitating that. And then 3 other couples joined in. It was like a friend of Davies from college, Rex, and his wife, Jill, who are, our whole small group is our best friends. But, and then Landon and his wife, us, Lauren's sister, Macy, and Tyler. And then, I'm about to sneeze. No, I'm not. And then one of my close friends from high school, Kate, and her husband, Ben. And, like, that was in I think that was December of 2018 when we started meeting, because it was right after we had gotten married. And we've been meeting consistently on Mondays. Obviously, life is crazy, and everybody's all over the place, especially now that we all have multiple kids. But we've met and done life together consistently since then, and it's the best.
It's the best. We have so many kids between us.
Yeah, we did Lauren also has a podcast. Didn't talk about that, but we did a whole podcast just on living in community with other people, and I'm so thankful for ours.
So it's so special.
Yeah, which also feels miraculous that we've made it this far.
Yeah,
because we're all super different. Like.
Shout out to Ben. I give Ben the hardest time. He's one of my favorite friends to bring conflicting answers to.
Yes.
Because he will shoot you straight.
Yes.
No matter what. And he has so many very strong, healthy, thought through, wise opinions.
Yeah.
And when they don't align with my opinions, I love to throw it in front of Ben and be like, shoot holes in this. Because it's such a healthy relationship now. Early on, there were some people that I would kind of be like, is there tension in the group? Because we have so many different backgrounds and we all go to different churches and we were all raised a little bit different. But at the end of the day, what is it? What Kate always says is like, these are like non-salvation issues. Yeah. If we can at least agree on the salvation issues, let's leave it at that. And, and it's been so sweet just to like build each other, and even just our knowledge of like, somebody who's really well versed in whatever the topic may be that we're not. It's so fun. Never a dull moment. Never. And I think it's just such a gift, and I think is why opposites are so good. Yeah. To have with each other, because if you're all on the same page thinking the exact same thing, how will you ever grow? Yeah. And also to have people who you love dearly who think differently than you, and you know they love you and support you. I think that's where safe conversations happen, is like knowing that the people in our group who have such strong personalities, I know that they are for me, I know that they love me, I know that they are for Jesus and they love Jesus, so it's a safe place to disagree or to ask hard questions. And I think that's why we grow so well. Yes, and that's just how they're wired. Like, we have 3, I would say Macy's an Enneagram 8. I would too.
I think
she's listening to this. She's going to be offended, but
you're a 9, Macy, if you're listening. But if you're not, you're an 8.
She totally is.
I'm just kidding. But I mean, we have at least two Enneagram mates in our group. And I think just also understanding, just people are wired differently. If there's conflict on a topic that we get into, it's not because they're trying to be hateful and tear you down. They're just like, I just think differently than that, and I don't agree.
Yeah.
And it's okay if at the end of it, we're not on the same page. Right. As long as it's not a salvation issue. Like, correct. We all agree on all the essentials. Yeah. It's like the controversial topics of infant baptism versus believers' baptism, or like
Arminianism.
A lot of things. A lot of things we can't pronounce.
What is that? People are going to be like, "What small group do you go to? Yeah. Do you even know the correct terminology?" And the answer might be no. I don't know all the correct terminology,
but we learn.
But we know Jesus.
That's right. Yeah, it's been the best, and we travel. We've taken so many fun trips together. Yeah. So, anyways, that is our friendship story.
And the end of the podcast.
In a nutshell. A long story long.
Yeah. It's so sweet.
Yeah, it is the best. And I'm really excited for you to share the miracle story that you want to share, because I've gotten to watch all of it unfold. Mm-hmm. Like, I'll let you start talking, but I'll never forget you telling me you were pregnant with Ada James when we were in New York.
Oh, gosh. Yes, that was a long time ago.
A long time ago. Yeah. But I have watched it all unfold, and now we get to recap it.
Yeah, we do.
And what's happening now.
I know.
If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I'm pretty passionate about non-toxic living, especially since having kids, which is why I'm so excited to tell y'all about Spry today. Modern life has changed how we eat, but we have not changed how we brush. We brush our teeth in the morning and at night, but then we snack, eat, sip, all day long. This constant exposure to sugar and starches feeds bacteria in our mouths, which leads to acid that then damages our teeth between brushings. You can't brush 5 times a day, but you can use Spry. Spry makes products with something called xylitol, which keeps bacteria from sticking to your teeth. So from the time you wake up, from the time you go to bed, Spry has you covered. Me, Davey, and our boys all love their toothpaste and mouthwash, which they make for both adults and kids. We also love their gum and mints, which are a way that we can keep our teeth clean throughout the day because they're also made with xylitol. My boys get so excited to brush their teeth now, and this was an easy switch that we made that makes me feel so much better about the ingredients that we're putting in their little bodies. To get Spry today for you and your family, you can click on the link in the show notes and use my code GRACE for 20% off site-wide. That's code GRACE, GRACE, for 20% off site-wide at Spry.
Okay, I'm also probably going to miss some details, so jump in if you're like, wait, you forgot this part. Yeah, on the topic of miracles, I think Loved One is one of my favorite, that how the Lord just lined up all those details, but also at the top of my list would be my kids. And Willa Gray's Miraculous story is just so intertwined with Loved One, and just the Lord calling me to Uganda, but doing that through your mom and through Loved One, and just meeting her, and how Thomas Rhett and I were just so aligned from the beginning, even though we had no idea what it looks like, how to do it, but the Lord was really clear. And so I would even just say she is, 1, a miracle life. 2, it's a miracle that she's in America, because that adoption process, and if you are somebody who has done international adoption, especially one where you've had to foster for months to a year and longer, that in and of itself is a miracle. Yeah. And so
also, you might touch on this at some point, but I think it's worth noting that the way that God spoke specifically to Thomas Rhett.
Yeah. I tend to be pretty bold, faith-wise. Well, I mean, say this without... Thomas Rhett and I are so very different. He's a thinker. He thinks through so much, and he's constantly thinking and assessing, and I tend to be more just like, the Lord told me to jump, I'm going to jump. Just like straight away, not even thinking about it, just jumping off the cliff. And which is funny. I talk about this in my book a little bit, but there was a girl who had this prophetic vision way before we started Willa Gray's adoption, and she actually, like, in her vision, like what she was telling me she was seeing was Thomas Rhett and I standing on a cliff and the Lord asking us to take that leap of faith. And that's how that feels like right up my alley of adventure, of like, let's freaking go. We're jumping off a cliff. And Thomas Rhett is like, this is a bad idea. No one has thought this through. Are we even sure that was his voice? And so for him to be the one that the Lord spoke through to say, this is our child, we are going to bring her home. And I was like, what? Who are you? And where is my husband? Because he was so sure, he was so confident. It was like he did not skip a beat when I was telling him about Willa Gray and her story. And so we adopted Willa Gray. We had been married 5 years at this point, and so we were ready to have babies, which was another reason why I was like, let's jump off the cliff. This is a baby. She is a precious, precious little angel. And I could not be more excited to get this child home and for her to make us a family and all the things that happen once you adopt a baby. But in that, we had been trying previous for like 6 or 7 months to get pregnant, and it just wasn't happening. Well, in that summer of 2016, we started the adoption, and then Thomas Rhett, it was actually the trip, I think it was the trip that he came to meet her, or maybe it was his second trip in where we were really starting to do a lot of the legal stuff, was when we conceived Ada James. And so not only were we bringing home a child from Uganda, but I was pregnant in the same, we went from 0 to 2 real quick. And it was really hard. And I learned a lot about us. Our marriage took a real tough nosedive. It was a valley. It was a valley that
and if you're there, you too can laugh about it one day.
Yeah, you too.
There's light on the other end of the tunnel.
For sure. If Jesus is in the center of it, he will redeem it, I believe. And he did. And we had 2 kids, and it took us a second to get our marriage back on track and really feel like we had this parenting thing somewhat under control. And I feel like I got a good break where I was like, you know what? I think I knew that I wanted a bigger family. And so I had said, maybe we start trying for another baby. So we waited a little bit and then had Lennon 2.5 years after Ada James. And so having 3 kids and him still traveling quite a bit. We didn't travel as much after I had Lennon. I was good just to hang out for a bit. And I will never forget this day as long as I live. But in March of 2020, what year was that? She was born in 2021. March 2021, we were there for Thomas Rhett's birthday, skiing.
Yes.
And you and Davey were with us. And I woke up one morning and ran to the toilet. And here's a little backstory on my pregnancies. Mm-hmm. I have the condition where you literally throw up. I counted one day. I was like, I'm just going to guesstimate how many times I'm throwing up in a day. And it was 57. And that was an average day.
An average Tuesday.
Yeah, it's all day. It's all night. It can be for no reason. It can be for lots of reasons. No medicine helps.
Mm-hmm. Is that what it's called?
Yeah. And it's so tough. If anybody, shout out to anyone else who has that. It's so, so tough. But the end product is so worth it. But
I will never forget the day I saw you. It was after you had Lily. Yes, because I saw you like right when you came home from the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out I was pregnant with Crew the day you had Lily.
Yes.
So I was coming over to meet Lily and tell you I was pregnant because I obviously was not going to tell you I was pregnant after a year of trying while you were in labor. But I'll never forget holding her after watching you be a shell of a human for 9 months, just barfing your guts up. And you saying, she's so precious and I would do it again tomorrow. And I was like,
Grace was like, what is wrong with
you're freaking insane. But it's so true. Like, you have your baby and you're like, I literally don't care what I would go through.
Yes.
I would go through it all again tomorrow.
True. Yes.
That to me was such a testament of how
much
worthwhile a baby is. Yes, I was like, wow.
Yes.
This is what I have to look forward to.
Yes. It is really sweet and so redemptive. Also, you're exhausted with a newborn, but
Totally.
just not enjoying pregnancy at all is so tough, especially like doing it for a fourth time now. And when that morning I woke up on our ski trip and I was like, oh gosh, something is wrong. And I ran to the bathroom and threw up. And I came back out. I was like, did anyone else feel like they didn't feel good this morning? Or like, do you think maybe like we all had the same meat last night? Like, do you think it was something we ate? And everybody was like, no. Ford was like, you're pregnant. I was like, that's not funny, Ford. And
Mo, our friend, was like, I think you have sun poisoning.
She literally, my cheeks were red. Because
like
when you
windburn.
ski, you know, windburn and probably a little bit of sun. Because we had some really nice bluebird days. And Mo goes, I think maybe you just have a little bit of sun poisoning. I was like,
the sun reflected off the snow and onto your
Mo,
face.
It's just my cheeks. I would not be throwing up. She's like, yeah. You know, she's like grappling for any reason. She's like, we'll find a reason why you're sick, right? And I went. She took y'all to the airport.
No, Sal. Well, I don't remember who drove us, but I remember Sal was with us, and you texted me and said, "Can you ask Sal to pick up pregnancy tests?" And I was like,
"Yeah, Grace was like, "This cannot be real," and I'm like, "Something is wrong," and I know this feeling.
Yeah,
I know this feeling, and I took a test. It was like so instantaneous. Like, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm having another baby," and so at this point, this was baby number 4. I did not feel like I had my head above water yet as a mom, and at the time, I had my sister-in-law was nannying for us, my brother's wife, Mackenzie. We call her Mackie. But she was there helping with the kids while we skied during the day.
Yeah. And
Thomas, I don't even know where he was. He was somewhere in the house with the kids. And Mackenzie was there. She could hear me running. I ran down the stairs in the house that we were staying at. And I am sobbing. Like, I have tears. I was inconsolable and already sick, and she literally, so dramatic. She literally caught me. Like, at the end of the stairs, I just, like, fell into her arms, and she was like, what's wrong? I was like, I'm pregnant. Which, like I said, I wanted a big family, and I know that children are a blessing. I think I was not ready to go back through pregnancy at the state that I was in with all of my kids and my husband traveling a lot. And I just was not mentally, emotionally, physically prepared for what was to come.
I felt the same way with this baby.
So,
and I didn't even have hyperemesis, and I still was like,
it's so valid. It's so valid.
Yeah.
Even if it's baby number 1 and you don't feel prepared.
Yeah.
It's so valid to feel all the feelings that you feel. Because I instantly felt guilty for having those feelings.
I remember that.
And I didn't want to say it out loud because you were trying.
Yeah.
Had been trying for a while for a baby. And still had not been pregnant yet. I had other friends who had gone through just horrific stories with babies, with not being able to have babies. And
this is with Lily.
Yeah. And I just felt like, how dare I have that reaction, feel that way? And somebody said, that's valid. Like, the fact that feels hard for you, the fact that you aren't ready for it, like, the feelings that you had are valid. And it's valid that your heart goes out to people that aren't able to conceive when they want, or healthy pregnancies don't go the way, they aren't healthy pregnancies. And
in that moment, I think we started trying in like November, and that was in March. And there was not one part of me that felt anything. I remember just being like, yeah, I would feel that way too.
Yeah. Yeah. Fast forward.
Yeah.
It was a rough pregnancy. Fast forward, I have Lily in November of that year, and this is not a joke. I look at that child, she's 3 now, and about to be 4, and I look at her so often and think and hold her little face and just go like, I cannot believe I almost missed you.
Yeah.
Like, she is
the best.
She is the best. She's the best. She's the best. And she's tough, like all toddlers are. She is the best. And when I found out it was another girl, also sobbed.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to be a boy mom. That was my dream when I was younger. I was like, I'm going to have a house full of boys. And 4th child, another girl, and I just sobbed. I was like, Lord, I thought for sure, like we were preventing, still not sure how Lily got here. And we know how conceiving goes. We were very diligent. Somehow Lily got here, and she's a girl. And I look back over my life and go, the Lord knew so much better than I did.
Yeah.
And that goes even with this baby number 5. We tried for almost 9 months. Still not very long in the scheme of things comparatively. But for me, it was like, okay, maybe, I'm 30, I'm going to be 36 soon. It was just like, I don't know, maybe this isn't in the cards for me. Maybe we're supposed to adopt next. And because I didn't feel done. I just didn't feel done having children. I know that sounds crazy because people are like, you have 4 healthy girls. Like, why would you add more chaos to your life? And I don't know what else to say other than my spirit just didn't feel at peace saying that we're done.
Yeah.
And finally, Thomas Rhett was like, yeah, I'd be great to have another one too. Let's do it. And so I was like, great, we're going to have another baby. Tried. 9 or 10 months goes by, no baby. And so we started pursuing a potential adoption with a little girl that we met in Uganda a while back. And as we were like preparing to move to Uganda, put everything in order in the States.
Which also, if you want to tell this, you should talk about Thomas Rhett having...
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Again.
Okay.
Again, the Lord speaks to Thomas Rhett. All of this comes up and we're like, okay, this means we're going to have to move to Africa, take all of our kids. This looks like, homeschooling for a year, him taking off tour and what he does for work. And in this, we're like, what does this look like? So pause in the story. About 18 months previous to all of this, like, Lord, are you calling us to adopt this little girl? About 18 months previous, we were in church, and we were in the middle of worship, and Thomas Rhett, like, saw and heard, like, your family is supposed to be in Uganda. And he was like, does that mean, like, spend more time over there? Does that mean move over there? And he told me about it, and he's like, I don't know what to do with this. Like, I don't know what to do with this, but the Lord clearly spoke to me and said, we're supposed to go to Uganda. And I was like, what? And so for months we were like kind of waiting on the Lord, just like, does it mean just go and not have a plan? And then this little girl came about and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what he's been preparing our hearts for. Mm-hmm. So we're like, we feel confident he's called us to go. And as we've pursued it and dug in a little further, this sweet little baby girl who needs a family, is going to have a family in Uganda that's going to adopt her and bring her in, which is precious and so sweet and just like the Lord's kindness. And she is going to grow up in her culture and do her thing. And I'm so happy for that. But in that, it felt a little bit like, oh, but Lord, you know that we want a baby. Are you sure that it's not her? And so then people are like, oh, well, then you're not going to move to Uganda, right? And we're like, well, shoot. Going back to the vision that Thomas Rhett again heard and saw in church. And I was like, oh, maybe we don't need to focus our prayers so much on like, Lord, please give us a baby. But maybe we just say, Lord, did you tell us to go?
Yeah.
And so we kind of refocused our prayer and had been praying like, Lord, just be very clear. If you've told our family to go to Uganda, even though we don't really have an agenda, we want to say yes to whatever you have for our family.
Yeah.
And so we had been telling people we're still going to go. We're going to live over there. We don't really know why. We don't think that there is a child for us. At least there's not one right now that we're going to pursue for adoption. So we don't really have a timeline. Because when you go to adopt, you're like, we'll be there at least 12 months.
Yeah.
This is what it's going to look like. And we didn't have that anymore. And so then we started praying for just clarity on like, just for us to plan life out a little bit better. Of like, when can he go back on the road? Like, how should he plan his job and our life and my kids in school and leaving America behind for how long? Like, you need to have some sort of a plan. And so we were like, Lord, can you please give us any clarity? And I woke up on Father's Day and had been feeling off for about a week and was like, I think I'm going to take a pregnancy test. And took one. It was a very faint line. Very faint. And also, just to not go like TMI, like way too in the details, it's a full-blown miracle based on the days that the conception happened, because I know exactly when it was, and it medically doesn't make sense that I would be pregnant.
Same.
At all. Medically, like the doctors and the internet were like, yeah, I think you're probably wrong with how that happened. I'm like, well, I know I wrote down my cycle exactly when it started. This is what happened. And people are kind of like, and including the internet, is like, not possible. I'm like, well, God said it is. And here we are. And so now we're pregnant again, and we have a timeline, and my heart feels just like so grateful. And also, I had found out so early that I had not been really sick just yet. And so also, it's like that alone feels like a little bit of a miracle to me. Just like that the Lord is giving me a period of really sweet time to know that I'm pregnant and to be able to smile about it and like have a happy spirit and not be so sick all day long and all night. And you know, it is what it is. My pregnancies are just not easy. And I know that's a lot of people's stories. But I just feel like it's such a gift that I even just had the little bit of time that I did before I got sick, just to say like,
Yeah.
this just feels like a sweet gift to be pregnant and to feel good right now.
Yeah.
And to be excited. And so I look at all of my kids and how they're here and the timing that they're here. And some of the timing didn't work out to when we would have planned.
Mm-hmm.
But I see them now. I go back and like retell their stories of how they came to be and who they are and the timing that they were born and how he's created them. And I'm like, oh my gosh, some of these kids are full-blown miracles because we're not sure how they're here.
Yep.
And others of them are just miracles because they just are. I mean,
Yeah.
they're just children even coming into this world. To me, all of my kids are just little walking miracles, and I love to look back over all of our babies and all of our pregnancies and just see how the Lord was so good and so faithful and teaches you so much in the waiting,
Yeah.
and in the hardship and in the valleys, and then shapes you and molds you to be the mother you're supposed to be the sister, the friend, the wife. And I see him doing that in my kids already, in the timing that they were born, in the order they are in our family.
Yeah.
It's just really, really sweet and fun.
Yeah. A couple of things. One, a couple of takeaways that I was thinking. I feel like a lot of people know a family who has tried to get pregnant and then they say yes to adoption and then they get pregnant. I mean, that literally happened with us when we were trying for a year with Crew. We were like, all right, maybe that's not this is not how God wants to build our family. Like, started the home study, found out I was pregnant the next month. Literally started it again and thought, with all of my pregnancies, we've started the adoption process and then found out I was pregnant.
Yeah.
And, like, circled back. Poor Lisa Mosley. She's probably like, can you get it together? No, she's definitely not. She's great. But the amount of times I've emailed and been like, okay, we're ready to move forward. And then 2 weeks later, I'm like, okay, actually, I just found out I'm pregnant again. But I was thinking, it's not, it's not like A plus B equals C where it's like, oh, we're having trouble getting pregnant. We're just going to say that we're going to adopt and it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. I think it can seem like that, but number one, I think God sees people who open their hearts to like, okay, God, build my family the way you want to build it. And if it's through adoption or through something else, like, we're surrendered to that. And then a lot of times that's when he's like, great, all I wanted was your surrender. And then I think that's, in my opinion, why sometimes it happens that way. And then you end up getting pregnant. Also, I just watching all of this unfold from my perspective, I love, like, one thing we talked about is y'all have been wrestling with moving to Uganda. And, like, wrestling is a very literal word. Like, it's been such a, there's, like you said, there's just so many logistics and like, is this really, did I hear him right? And I remember one thing that you said was maybe it's like Abraham and Isaac and he's just wanting to see if we're willing to do what he wants us to do, and then he's not actually going to call us there. But like, in our heart of hearts, are we willing? Yeah. And the answer is yes. But I also think a lot of people could have been like, you said, yes, we're willing, and there's this baby there. That was like kind of a reason that made sense to go. But then I've just been so proud of the way that y'all have stepped back and just said, okay, that reason on paper might not be there anymore, but Thomas Rhett still heard God say you're supposed to go. Are we still supposed to go? And right now you feel the answer is yes. And like, this episode will air when y'all are home. Yeah. Which I feel like we're going to have to do a quick follow-up, and you're going to have to like recap. Part 2. Yeah, because at that point you'll be about to have this baby. But I think I was like, as I was processing alongside y'all and just being a listening ear, I just kept thinking, I wonder if they're going to feel the piece of like, oh, okay, well, that baby's not there. So it was Abraham and Isaac and we're just not supposed to go. Yeah. And I've just been proud of the way that you've continued to press in and be like, are we still supposed to go? And then been obedient anyways, versus, not that that would have been an easy way out. Y'all were still willing, but like, I think a lot of people wouldn't continue to press in and ask God, okay, you took this reason away, so surely I think most people would just be like, oh yeah, the reason's gone, we're not doing it. Yeah. And cool.
That was a lot of the question was like, okay, well, if she's not in the picture anymore, like if she's found her forever home, surely y'all won't take 4 kids over to Uganda and live there. And we're like, well, actually, we think he still told us to go. Yeah. And it doesn't make sense. Because people are like, well, what are you going to do? And we're like, we don't know. Yeah. We don't know. But we do know that if he's called us to it, he's not going to leave us alone. He's going to see it through. And it's going to be good for our family and for our kids. And I think at the end of the day, like, that was what my driving force was. Like, I think it would be so easy to just think about taking your kids into a place that it's not stable like America. And there are harder things. And it is a very different culture. And although it is the culture of our hearts, because we love that place and the people and the time we spend over there, like, so much of our hearts are there already, so it feels easy for us to go and travel as loved one, but to take a family over there is a very different ball game.
So different.
And so I think when people have said like, but why would you do that, I look at my children and it definitely is easy to go, this isn't safe for them. But your mom sent me this quote from a book she was reading, and she said, safety is not the absence of danger. Safety is being in the presence of Jesus. And this was right as we were praying all of this. Like, are we being unwise taking our children? At the end of the day, I'm like, if he's told us to go and he's called him and I to do this with our family, I have to believe that it is for the goodness of my children. Yeah. And that you can argue you can argue that driving at a certain time of day or night isn't safe.
Right.
We have this false sense of safety in America, I think.
Yeah.
And I do think there are things you can do to be wise and make, like, the Lord gave you a brain. I'm not saying to just, like, abandon all sense of, like, wisdom and discernment. But I do think where the Lord is calling you to a place, that's the safest place to be.
Yeah.
Even if the world says, this is not safe, this is not a good idea. If the Lord says, I need you to do this, this is where I'm calling you, this is what I have for you next, He's the safest place.
Yeah.
And if walking the line, whatever that line is with our family, no matter how hard it may be, I have to believe that on the other side of what I'm sure will be partly a valley, hopefully some mountaintops sprinkled within, but I'm not naive to think that it's going to be like butterflies and rainbows. But I have to know that, like, it's for the goodness of my children and hopefully for their, like, eternal lives.
Yeah, totally.
And so I'm like, I would do this for my children all day long.
Yeah.
If I knew it was, like, the Lord's plan for their life. And I do believe that's what it is.
Yeah. Also, as you're talking, I can think of two things. One, you were just I feel like God's given you signs and confirmations probably that we could fill 2 podcasts with, just like little things that He's done. But you were just saying before this, it's so crazy and inexplainable that you're pregnant right now. But like 10 people have told you they've had dreams that you're pregnant. And I was just thinking about, we had a girls' night one night and our friend Sophie was there, and it was right around the time that you were wrestling with this. And her parents literally did exactly what y'all are doing with their 4 kids, who are the exact ages of your kids. And I remember standing there and Sophie was like, that was the best thing they did for us, and completely changed my life, like shaped where I'm at spiritually today. And that's just not a coincidence.
It was not a coincidence. Also, I had not told anybody that we were going yet.
I know. I remember I walked up on y'all talking about it, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, we're going there.
Yeah,
we're going there. We were at a party, and it just happened to be, like, the 3 of us alone. And the crazy part is she asked a pointed question at me. I said, how are you? Because she had a really big year the last year, and I hadn't seen her in a while. Hard, good, and really hard for her. And so I was like, oh my gosh, Sophie, like, I'm so happy to see you. Like, how are you doing? And she was like, I'm so happy to see you. I'm great. And she said, she didn't say, I'm great. How are you? She said, I'm great. Tell me what's happening in your life right now. Like, it was like a very pointed, like, give me what is front line on your heart and in your life right now. And I felt the Spirit be like, tell her. And I was like, I am not going to just open up this can of worms right now. And it was such a tell her what you're wrestling with. I had no idea that she even did that. Yeah. As a young girl with all of her siblings and her parents. And the fact that that's what she said back to me was like, okay, Lord, I see why you wanted me. I see why you had her ask me that very specific question. And I see why you prompted me to share that with her, even though we had not shared it at all with people. And her response back was exact ages, exact same amount of kids in a very different country. And it was her parents going out on faith, being like, this is what we felt the Lord's called us to do. And she said, it shaped my faith and my siblings' faith in a way that I will never forget, and I think has made me who I am today as a believer. Yeah. It was like, mic drop. I was like, okay, well, that feels like another very confirming to add to the list of confirmed, not confirmed. Yeah. It was so sweet, and it's just been so cool watching him be faithful. And but you have to write. I would encourage people as they are walking through things in life. I'm not a journaling person, but I've tried to take notes in my phone and date them so that I can go back and have it organized. Yeah, so that I can see his faithfulness, because it's very easy if you don't write it down to question it later and go, did I hear it that way? Was it said this way? Yeah. And going back through those moments, which arguably I think are also miracles, going back through that just further, I feel like it really affirms who the Lord is, who his character is, how he is for you, how he is in every single detail. And it also just you just see his faithfulness and you can recall his goodness and his faithfulness. And then when you're in those valleys, you go, I know he is good. I know he is faithful. How do I know? Because I have seen it in my own life.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I feel like I'm alone, I know that I'm not. How? Because I've seen it in my life. And I need to be better about writing things down. But I love recapping things like this because it just keeps cementing it in your mind of like, don't forget these details of who he is and how he cares for you and your children in every detail because he's created it. And that's what he cares about. He's created you and that's who he cares about.
Yeah, it's so good. We covered so much. And
sure
the
did.
timing is going to be, people are going to be like, wow, was Africa by the time this comes out? But we can do a follow-up with the recap.
Yeah, we will.
As a closing question, because I know we're maybe past time, I don't know, but
for sure.
I would love to hear your favorite miracle story in the Bible.
Oh,
if you have a favorite.
Okay.
Or just one you love.
Okay,
something you love about
one
it.
I love that sticks out, that I think about often just in my own life, is when the disciples and Jesus, or the disciples are out in the boat, and Jesus comes walking on the water and calls Peter out of the boat. And I love, because I think about that a lot. I'm like, where is he calling us out of the boat? In lots of things, small and big. And watching, like, when you read that story and how Peter gets out and is like, I trust you, Lord, I trust you. And he starts to walk on water. And then his humanness sinks in.
Yep.
And he's like, oh no, what if, whatever it was he started doubting or second guessing or taking his focus off Jesus, whatever that was, when he started to sink, the Lord was like, I'm right here. Like, I just think that all the time, like, he calls us out. And I do think sometimes it's easy to say yes to him and other times it's really hard. But even if you say yes, or even if you don't do it in the way that maybe you were supposed to, or we screw it up because we're humans, hello, he's still there for us. He still loves us. And I just, like, I feel so encouraged by, like, even Peter being like, yes, I'm on fire for you, Jesus. I'm here for you, Jesus. I'm going to do it. And he still doesn't do it perfectly.
Yeah.
And Jesus is like, I'm here for you. And I'm proud of you just for hopping over the boat.
Yeah.
And I'm going to carry you the rest of the way.
Yeah.
And I love the grace. I love the picture. I love the picture of, like, abandoning that spirit of fear. And just knowing that, like, he's going to be there for you even when you abandon that spirit of fear. And if you start to panic and sink, that's okay too.
Yeah.
That encourages me so much because it's easy to talk about the first part of obeying the Lord. And then when it gets messy and you mess it up or it doesn't go the way you thought, he's going to carry you through, and it's actually not on your own doing anyways. And I love that picture. I love that story. And I feel like I can relate to it just in the humanness so many ways of, like, yes, I'm on fire for you, Jesus. I love you, Jesus. I'll do anything you call me to do. And I'm still going to screw it up, and I need you every bit of the way.
Yeah.
And it's such an adventure.
Yeah.
Ups and downs.
That's so good. I have heard this a bunch of times since the first time I heard it, but the first time I heard this, I remember talking about it. It had to be right when our small group started because it felt so profound to me, and I remember hearing it in the living room of your old house. I think actually I remember this because our friend Shannon shared this in your living room.
Yes. Yep.
And that's why it's taking me back there, but he just happened to come to one of our small groups one time. But he described walking with Jesus and taking steps of faith like a baby learning to walk. And he's like, this will especially resonate with parents, but even if you're not a parent, you can still envision.
Yeah,
like when your kid starts taking their first steps, you're so pumped that they're taking steps and they're trying. And when they fall down, you don't get angry or scold them. You're like, it's okay, get back up, try again. And you're so excited that they're even trying and so proud of them. And that's exactly how God looks at us. Taking steps towards him in life, like in relationship with him, whether it's reading your Bible. I think for me, sometimes if I have, like, even the last couple weeks, I've not been sleeping. I've been horrible at reading my Bible, and it's so easy for me to bring guilt and shame on myself and feel bad. But I'm like, no, all I have to do is read my Bible, and God's pumped. He's not mad at me that I missed time. He's like, thank you for coming back to me. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. Like, we're all when you're pursuing Jesus, every step you take towards him, he's proud of. And when you fall down, he's not angry. He's just like, get back up and keep going.
Yeah.
And I think that ties into that miracle, but that's
Sweet.
so good. Yeah.
Encouraging.
I feel like people focus on the walking on water part, but him faltering is
so much more the relatable part.
Yes.
I'm here for it.
Totally. Yeah, we are Peter.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here. This was so life-giving and fun.
I know. I loved it. Can't wait for part 2.
I know.